business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time. All right, we are here with week 18 of It's Business Time, and we are joined this week by Mr. Jarrell G-Jones of Day by Day. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming through, my man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, definitely. This is kind of, in a lot of ways, been a long time coming, you know. We've been crisscrossing a bunch. We got a lot of similar connections, similar friends. We got Sarah Crawford here in the house, our guest from a couple weeks ago. I know you guys are good friends, so thank you for coming through. And I can't wait to jump into this. Before we do, I do always like to give a quick shout out to Stitch House. Thank you, Stitch House, for having us. They got 12 beers on tap, great food. I'm drinking the alt beer. What you got here? This is the road soda, I think it is.
Oh, that's one for the road right there.
Yeah, the road
that's
soda.
One for the road. That's road sodas right there.
The
Go
Krolsch.
get yourself
Well, cheers to a good year here.
It is.
And with that, we're rolling. So, again, I appreciate you coming through. You got so much on your plate. When I started to look through, so every week before I start to talk to people, you know, I look at their websites, and I look at their socials, and I look at all that stuff, and you have so many awesome things, you know, from your weekend reviews to hats off with G-Dash to your actual, you know, production company, your book, the book you wrote, all these things. So I want to give you a chance to kind of suss that out. But I do like to start. So this series, if you haven't caught up with too much of it, it's largely about like 4 others out there who are doing something similar to what you're doing, or might want to grow into that space, might aspire to be the artist, the poet, the MC, the Renaissance man, if you will. So I do like to start a little bit with some background and kind of like, how did you find this field? What were you doing beforehand that kind of inspired you to strike out? Have you always been an artist, poet, or did an inspiration strike later on? So take us back to where G-Dash was born and the journey. I like it.
Okay, so G-Dash was born in North Wilmington, in the city. So.
Oh, I didn't mean born like physically born. I meant like
no. It all came out at the same time. Like I came out the womb like I'm thinking. I came out as sperm. I'm thinking. No.
Yeah.
But no, so since I was young, I've always written, and I was into poetry. I was into music. I kind of lived in that space. Mm-hmm. And then by trade, I wound up cutting out a lot of the story. Like, because I did everything from selling CDs to working at a movie theater to I wound up being a trainer. So I was a corporate trainer for about 15 years.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Trained everything from marketing, customer service, and I still do training.
Okay.
Right? It's just now it's contracted.
Right.
So outside of that, then a couple years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I said, okay, I was out. I could always kind of do improv poetry. That was a thing.
Right.
So I was out in D.C. at a Bus Boys and Poets kind of on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first time kind of like getting on the stage and realizing that, oh, wait, I can do a thing here that is going to captivate a room.
Right.
Then fast forward to be doing theme shows. I did a show for at the Gibby down Middletown.
Yep.
And they gave me the theme of the play Rent. I never did nothing like that before.
Right.
So why not? And I wound up doing the show kind of just based around that. And I was also hosting in that affair. And I was like, oh, wait, I could host too.
Right.
Oh Lord, we can do some things. You know, next thing I know, I'm hosting Weed Stock. I'm hosting the block parties.
Yep.
You know, just a bunch of different things. And then Hats Off came as a byproduct of that. I was like, I'm talking to all these different people and all these different artists. Well, let me bring people together and bring entrepreneurs together. I find that in Delaware, people think they know everybody, but they only know their circle.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, well, how about I bridge the gap between circles and help people kind of, so, you know.
And that's actually a perfect segue. So I think the first time I got a chance to see the more creative side of what you do was with the Ty Mathis show at Marketplace Gallery.
Yep.
I love that. I was like, nobody's doing anything quite like this. And even though I could sit here and talk about the artistic side, the MC side all day, it's really more the entrepreneurial spirit. Like I didn't realize that you had that background with training and sales and all that stuff. That's a lot of my background and why I decided to do this series as well, is because when you spend a lot of time kind of writing and memorizing scripts, right? You start asking yourself, like, where do these scripts come from? And so that actually starts to click a lot. Like I can already see in your eyes, like the type of the modulation that you could bring to training. The lightheartedness, the seriousness, all that type of stuff. Because I've seen it in some of your art. Okay, so you were training. What year did you kind of wrap up the corporate chapter?
So my corporate. So there's two different answers to that question. Okay,
there always is when it comes to corporate.
Because there's when they said they were done,
right.
And there's when I said I was done.
Understood.
So essentially in 2020, COVID happened. I had been working for Comcast for like about 14, 15 years.
Got you.
Probably like 14 years at that point training, right? And I said, all right, and I got laid off. And at that point, that's when the decision for me was I was going to be independent.
Right.
Now I wasn't ready to live independently. Right. So but I had already had my LLC involved at that point. But then it was like, all right, well, what are we going to do? Now we're going to write a book so we can do public speaking.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my thought process. Even in writing my first book, I said, well, I'm going to put my art and my spoken word into a book of life lessons. Right. And then I'm going to use that to help propel me to speak in front of crowds. Right. That's just how my brain kind of connected the dots, because I know you can do more as a speaker if you have a product. Right. Yeah, totally. So that's kind of how that's when the decision was made. But I still worked for somebody else for like 2 more years. You know what I'm saying? Right.
So let me dive into the book a little bit. So a lot. Real quick, some context. A lot of this series has been, small business owners who are in the trenches, right? And I think a lot of people don't realize how much goes into the kind of ancillary stuff, the sales and the marketing and all that. It's like when you're selling products, right? That's one world. Because here it is. Here's the thing. I don't need to write anything. You look at it. You hold it. You touch it. But with the book, it's like, first of all, what's the book called?
It's called Destined by Determination, Volume 1, The Willing.
Destined
by Determination.
Destined by Determination. I will definitely check that out. And then can people find that like Amazon or
it's
other
on
places?
Amazon, or you can go to g-jones.com, click shop right there, just for you. Huh?
g-jones.com.
Click shop. It's
click
right
shop. It's right there. And I assume you probably get some good affiliates when they go right to the website. Yeah. So okay, so you wrote this book. Is there anything like so I love where it came from. You said I need a product in order to move to the next stage of my career.
Yes.
And so you had an impetus for this, but like what was the inspiration?
So what I did was I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I didn't want to I'm not somebody who wants to randomly write. Like, I wasn't going to do that. So what I did was I said, wait, I took one of the songs that I had wrote like maybe 10 years prior that had stayed with me.
Wow.
And I said, okay, let me break this out I'm going to break each verse into different poems, right? Or each line. And at first I was like, but that's going to be like 30, 40 poems, and I did research, right? I went in the Clubhouse. Clubhouse was kind of new then, but they still had people just hopping on, just sharing knowledge.
Right.
And one of the best pieces of advice was, if you're going to write all that many poems, you're going to waste a bunch of time and energy, because they're not going to read 30 poems. They're going to read a little bit of this, put it down, read a little bit of that, put it down.
Right.
Especially when it's inspirational. They only go into it to build themselves up.
Yep.
All right, bet. So then I literally was like, I'm just going to take this first verse out. And after I took that first verse out, I just broke it out into each having its own message, because each line was important anyway. So
yeah. No, I like that. So it did come from, a personal place, a passionate place.
Well, yeah, because in my brain, if I'm going to speak in front of people,
yeah,
I got to make sure that the messaging of the book is in alignment with who I already am and what I've already survived.
Got you. Okay, so I'm starting to get a clearer picture here. Starting to get a clearer picture of the path, because when we kind of talk about like everybody walks a path in their own way. Like I said, some stay behind the scenes, some are out there, out front, branding right away. I think you and I are cut from a similar cloth of like the branding and the front facing stuff. And so you have this book, and then you're working towards more like the motivational speaker, the MC, the kind of the front of house person,
Right.
as it were. And what year? This was during COVID. That
So the book was released in April, May, 2020. I'm sorry, 2021. The book was released in 2021. I got my LLC in 2020. Book was released in 2021.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and that's
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
even in that, so then it became the actual rollout of a strategy of rolling out a book.
Okay.
Right. And okay, well, what type of marketing strategy is going to look like, or where am I going to perform this? Like, how am I going to galvanize sales? Like, what are you going to do? Like, just because you have a product doesn't mean they're going to buy it. So how can we now make this a marriage? And for me, I liked all my things to have a level of synergy. So if I'm offering this product, cool, because now now I'm starting to value myself as a spoken word artist too.
Right.
Because so now, you want to hire me? Now I can go into these rooms and I can then either if I can kind of use my spoken word vibe if you need that, or if you want me to kind of speak to something kind of more poignant, I can do that. And that comes from a training background anyway.
Right.
So I'm used to kind of delivering the messages. So it all worked out.
Right. No, understood. So here we are in 2024, almost 3.5, 4 years later.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I often ask people is, like, what was the moment that you were doubting your path, right? And you said, am I on the right? And if there isn't a moment, that's good, because it feels like you've been living from like, from your own passion, your own inspiration. I'll be honest, like that, not a lot of people get that privilege, and I appreciate that you grabbed it by the horns, I guess.
Yeah.
And you walk that path. That means a lot. But was there a moment where you said to yourself, like, this isn't working. I gotta go do something else? Because the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, like the 9 to 5 full benefits, it's always calling to you.
Yeah. It is. So here's the thing about entrepreneurship. There will be tears.
Yeah.
I think like it's not for the weak, and everybody's not meant for it.
Yeah.
I am never going to tell you everybody's built for this, because everybody is not.
Yeah.
So you go through scary times. You go through, am I making the right decision? You go through, like for me, my business model is set up to have multiple income streams.
Right.
So it's kind of set so that I can kind of play one and then and then play with the other. So
Right,
I'm kind of like, but it's a constant game of hats. Oh, wait, where's it at? Where's it at?
Oh.
And then, so yeah.
Hats off to you.
Yeah, thank you. So there's a fear. Okay?
Yeah.
There's always a fear that you picked the wrong hat at the wrong time.
Right.
And so yes, I've had moments of the fear. I think, but in the other side of it, I haven't had moments that told me that what I'm doing isn't for me.
Right.
So that's why the answer to your question is the moment that I decided. So when I got laid off from Comcast after 14 years,
Right.
I realized, they can take your job away anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, they can take this away? If they can take this away from me, I might as well be doing what I want to do.
Yep.
And that's even if you work for somebody else. Make sure you're doing what you want to do, because they can take it away anyway, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's when it was like, I might as well build my own if I can just take it.
You're preaching to the converted over here. Like I read at a young age Machiavelli, and one of the lines in there was, the power to destroy a thing is the power over that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And working for other people made me realize that at any point they can just decide you're not right.
Yes.
You don't fit. You didn't work hard enough this month. Or whatever it is. You could be a great employee for whatever, and that power, gave me this kind of, I understand it, right? Because we're all going to hire people one day, and we're all going to make that decision for others. But it definitely created this sense of like, what am I here for if I'm giving that power over to somebody else? It made me very uneasy. And so when I said, like, it's a privilege to walk your true path, I don't mean like, oh, you're so privileged. What I mean is
I know.
that's very. There's a lot of people who dream of that, and they organize their life in a way that one day they can do that, and they don't realize they can do that today.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So thinking about what you said, one of the things that will always stick with me, because I was a trainer there when I got laid off, it was the feeling. It wasn't just the feeling that, oh, they could take this from me. It was the feeling of I was leading other people to a place, and they not only going to take it from me, but because I was leading them, they might take it from them.
Right.
And it's like, if I'm going to train people on something, I'd rather give you what I got.
Right.
And then if that happened to fail you, then you got it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Got you. But training them, moving people through a cycle, and then at the end of the day, hopefully they done leveled up just for somebody else to cut their head off. Now I'm stuck with a low level of guilt.
Right.
And I was like, I probably shouldn't.
No, I definitely understand that because, ultimately, like as a trainer, as someone who's trying to help them rise up, if you lead a horse to water, and then if they don't drink, that's on them. But if they do drink and they drop dead, that's on you.
Facts. That's exactly. Yes, that was literally the emotion. Like, that was the exact correct feeling.
I've been through it. We'll trade some stories off camera for sure, because I like this series to be, just stay light, stay positive, because we are in a spot. And by spot I mean in America in 2024, right? Where you can work a day job and continue your dreams elsewhere. You can do multiple things and keep the game moving. A few weeks ago, I had someone on. We were talking a little bit about AI and how much AI has changed. It's like some of my biggest weak spots were putting my thoughts into a full page, right? And now I can start with the page and then go through and edit it to what I thought my thoughts were going to be. And I'm not talking about creative stuff. I'm talking about like contracts
I know
and
exactly
things like
what you mean.
all right.
I've had this conversation. So it's funny that you say that, and I don't want to veer too much, but I had that specific conversations with artists.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, and I fought the AI thing. Now I'm creating a class for it. Okay?
Yeah.
But like it was, and they enlightened me that AI can give you suggestions when you're not sure exactly where to go. So they're not going to do the creative, like it doesn't do the art a lot for them, but it can give them a suggestion. Okay, this is how, give you ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and as someone who uses AI a lot, both in text and in art, they're not anywhere near what people who don't use it think they are.
Facts.
The art is not that great.
Nope.
And the text is... It's the same as just Googling that I used to search like an NDA is a great example, non-disclosure. I want to tell you a big idea. I want you to sign an NDA, right? And it's like, I used to just Google that, copy and paste it.
Yep.
ChatGPT, that's all. They're just saving that one step of Googling
it for you.
Yeah.
And for me, like when you don't have industry knowledge, and take this one with you. When you when you lack industry knowledge for something, the biggest key that a lot of times people go to school for is terminology.
Yeah.
And what ChatGPT might helps a lot of people with is terminology, me included, because I might know what a thing is, but I called it the thingy my whole life. Now I got to make a pitch to somebody, or now I got to have a professional conversation with somebody in the industry. Right. And if I call it a thingy, they going to look like, oh, so you work with the thingy all the time. That's what you work with?
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. No,
right.
Dude, every time I talk to an accountant, they remind me that I have forgotten more terms in their world than I've learned. Like, it's just the P&L statements and all these are like, it's like you said, it's the industry specific. And if I'm not there for a few years, then I talk to someone in that world, I feel like I'm in high school again, and I'm asking, should I go to college?
Yep.
I feel, but yeah. So now we're mostly caught up. So I had Ed Dornick on. I've used this analogy a couple times. He's the owner of Aztec Printing out on 202, and he described like when you're starting off in business, you're kind of like a dog in a dumpster, right? You're like, you don't know where you're going to make a lot of your money from.
Yep.
So you kind of eat this, try that, and regurgitate and try that and try this and everything. And I've seen your flow. I've seen your grind, so to speak. And you have this huge menu. You have this huge menu of stuff that you do, which is which is inspirational. But is it hard to monetize? Does it make it harder to have such a broad menu?
It was all in my business plan.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
Well
like
said. Business plan.
like I actually like it sounds crazy,
Right.
Because with how kind of free flowing I can be in the
Right,
improv
right,
stuff,
right.
some of the things
Okay.
were already pre-planned
Got you.
to be able to build.
Yeah.
So when I say that,
Orderly chaos.
yes,
Mhm.
right. So now again, like so me having, 15 years of training experience before I start doing contract work specifically, before I go independent in that realm. All right, cool, we got a backing.
Right.
Right now, I can move a little freely because I've already got that skill easily. So, but by the time I jumped, I was already also hosting and doing gigs enough. I had
Right.
been doing that for a year or two. So I
Right.
built that muscle up. So that was my secondary gig. And technically what I was doing for my main job also became another main thing I could do.
Yeah.
Right? So now I was able to transition certain things.
Yeah.
So for me, that makes it easier. And the other side of it is I have a thing where I will ask myself if I did all the things I could do
Right.
to achieve the goal.
Right.
That might mean, all right, I got to email 50 different companies about a sponsorship for my show, right?
Right,
And
right.
if nobody answers or nobody, all
Right.
right, cool, I did everything I
Right.
could do.
Right.
Right? And if I didn't, then I'm looking at it like, And most of the time when I do everything I could do, something won't work.
I know.
Something
I
won't
know.
work.
I know. I feel that. I just recently did that for a monthly event that we're starting. The whole 50 emails, no one responded, so I start
Yep.
calling them.
Yep.
And by the third or fourth person being like, "What is this for again?" I'm like, "Can you check your email?"
Yes.
And
Yes.
But no, I'm
Yes.
with you. I think like I wake up in the middle of the night being like, "Oh, I didn't send that one person that one thing. That could have been the thing." I think some of that sales training, there's a line, every door, every floor.
Yep.
Right, which means like it's that if you do 99 and you skip that 100th could have been your whole month.
Yeah.
That, in some cases, that could be the make or break difference, the client that changes the game.
So, and here's the difficult part.
Yeah.
All right. The difficult part is finding a balance between holding yourself accountable to make sure you hit all the ones,
Right.
but not letting it pull you down for the one that you missed.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
that delete after F up stuff is hard.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
after,
yeah.
oh wait, all right, or all right, that deal didn't go through.
Yeah.
And because what happens in this entrepreneur world is if that deal doesn't go through, you have to be finding the next one somehow, some way, because those
Right.
are funds that need to be put into a budget.
Right.
Right. So now if you try and figure out how to like you just don't have the leeway that and if you dwell on it too long, you start to
Yep.
get nah, that's just a loss. Move on.
Yeah.
That part gets real hard if you start to at least I've
Yeah.
had moments where I'm like, damn, all right, what am I going to do? What am I getting ready to do? Listen, create through it. Keep trying.
Yeah, this isn't about me, but I do want to tell a real quick story about, I've been doing music and arts for 20 years, and I took 6 years to go build this other company, this children's music thing, and when I came back, I made a promise to myself that I was going to spend my time on the people who wanted to be around me, who
Yeah.
wanted to spend their time with me, who wanted to work with me, because I remember in the old days, it was the person who said no that got stuck, and why not? And all you do, when you do that, you just burn yourself out. You burn
Yep.
out that energy saying, why not me, why not me, why not me? And I realized a lot of that was middle child stuff, right? Like, we all got to learn about what our own barriers are.
Right.
It was like, how come not me, mom and dad, And the thing is it's like coming back, I've been trying to walk that path. It's been working for me. But I can tell another part of your menu, that would be very valuable is consulting, and that kind of goes hand in hand with training and consulting. But like, I think, and I advise anyone out there watching, give this guy a call, ask him some questions about the brand, I talked to you at Sarah's birthday a week ago, just trying to kind of hone in on some branding stuff, and that was incredibly helpful. It's still stuck in my head. So, I appreciate your wisdom a lot.
Thank you. And real quick, I just want to say this because it's stuck in my head.
Please.
So my favorite thing for the world to know, because it's hard to deal with in life, is the no's, right?
Yeah.
And what I commend you on is sometimes that persistence from the no, that why not me, can make you
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Right. It can make
That's
you more
true.
well-rounded as long as you don't get too far into the brain of it. But it can be a thing.
Yeah.
That I'll say this because this is on the other hand in doing interviews.
Right.
So my brain, there are people who I interview. My show Hats Off is very specific in how I pick my people.
Right. Right.
So it's typically people who had something change within the 30-day swing, unless it's a sponsored show.
Yeah.
Right? Or they had an event, right? So it's entrepreneurs, it's local tastemakers, whatever, that had just something, what's happening, right?
Right.
Boom.
Right.
And there are times when I'm reaching out, like, yo, I got to get this on can you believe they just did that over at the Queen? Or they just had this over at, I need to get them on my show.
Yeah.
And I'm left on red.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You send that email, they're not sending no email back.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, why you don't want to talk to me? You see him outside. Hey, bud, how you doing? Hey.
I know,
like,
I know.
Like,
Hey,
I
what
deal
I
with it.
tell myself is they're really busy.
Yes,
They
yes.
must be.
That's exactly what it is. They didn't actually say no, so
Right.
it's a pending yes.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's a pending
Exactly. The best part is when you circle back, you say, "Hey, did you get my thing?" And then they go, "Oh yeah, I did." It's a no.
Yes. That-
I was trying to save your feelings. Like, no, I'm here to learn. But my man, it has been awesome talking to you. I'm trying to keep these digestible right around 20, 25 minutes. I know I could already feel like we could start to get off into specifics, and next thing you know, it's an hour long. Which is what you do on your show.
Yeah.
Hats Off each Thursday.
Yep, Hats Off Thursdays on Instagram Live, IG. He's my guest next week, so come see me talk to him.
I'm so honored.
Yes. Oh yeah. We're gonna dive into all the Hawaii trips.
Yeah, that'll be good. If you want the backstory of the host of this show, you're going to have to go to G-Dash's show.
Absolutely, it's gonna
But
be
hey,
great.
do me a favor, and because you got a lot of ventures, I want you to talk about it. But let's do one good commercial for you: the book, the company, the show, everything. And I can put some links. Anytime you see me pointing, that's like the post production. I'm going to throw some links. So give me a solid commercial for a lot of the ventures you got going on. Anything you want to talk about, so I can drop some links and include that stuff for the people listening.
Absolutely. So I'm G-Jones on all socials. It's just at G-Jones. That'll be me. So I have my book, Destined by Determination, Volume 1. Gonna get yourself it's gonna make you feel good on the inside. It's uplifting. It's about 20 different poems. Each poem has its own introductory paragraph, so you can just kind of understand. Even if you're not into poetry, you can fool with it. Now, also coming up, I do a show every Thursday, Hats Off, with G-Jones, where I interview different people who are exciting and amazing. So along with that, I'm a host. I host a bunch of different things. So reach out to me. Whether you want me to host your wedding, your bar mitzvah, your whatever event you got, I'm liable to host, and I can add in a little spoken word or make it rhyme and add some creative messaging to it. I do that and I do promotions. If you got an event, guess what? Check me out. I do a thing called Update Your Calendar. Yeah. It's a reel for 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm telling you all the things that are popping off within the next week, and it's going to rhyme.
I wanted to mention that is impressive. I thought about doing that so many times because but the amount of time it takes to source all that, put it all together.
Ooh, yeah.
I know how much effort that. Check out what's the name of that series?
G, Update Your Calendar.
G,
Yep.
Update Your
Your
Calendar.
calendar, that's it.
Check out Update Your Calendar too. If you're in the Wilmington area, you absolutely have to be following this man. He has his finger on the pulse. Man, thank you so much for coming through. I got a million more questions, but I'm going to save them for season 2.
Yes, sir.
And a few of them for off camera. But G-Dash, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me, man.
Jarrell G-Jones. That's it for week 18 at Business Time. Want to thank Stitch House for having us. Thanks again, and continue having a great year, everybody. It's been